OpenAI just dropped GPT 5.6, and honestly, the benchmarks are impressive. Sol beats Claude Fable 5 on Agent's last exam by 13 points. Terra and Luna beats Fable 5 at 1/16th the cost. But the benchmarks aren't why you're watching this. Here's why you're watching. GPT 5.6 Sol with max reasoning comes to within 1 point of Fable 5 on the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index. It also finishes tasks in 61% less time and roughly half the estimated cost. Terra and Luna? They beat Fable 5 at around 1/16th the cost. Let that sink in for a moment. 1/4 the cost, 61% less time. For long-running agents, the kind that run customer support, research, code generation, financial modeling all day every day, that doesn't just save you money. It changes the fundamental unit economics of what's possible in your business. Today, I'm going to walk you through what GPT 5.6 actually changes for your business. Not the benchmarks for benchmark's sakes, but what it means for your P&L, your team's capacity, and what you can finally afford to automate. And at the end, I'll tell you exactly how we help companies like yours deploy this. Quick lay of the land first. GPT 5.6 isn't one model. It's 3. Sol is the flagship, the heavy hitter. Terra is the balanced everyday workhorse, and Luna is the fast, cheap one for high volume. Now, I threw a couple of numbers at you already, so let me tell you why they actually matter. The first one, Agent's last exam, isn't some abstract leaderboard. It tests long-running professional work across 55 different fields. Basically, it tests can the model stick with a real multi-step job the way an actual employee would. That's about the closest thing we've got to can it do the work, and it's the test where Sol pulls clear of Anthropic's best. And that within 1 point on the intelligence index stat. That's the broad all-round measure. Coding, reasoning, agents, the whole spread. Sol basically ties the best model on the market while finishing the same tasks 61% faster. It's also OpenAI's best coding model yet. It's the new state-of-the-art on the coding agent benchmark, plus Terminal Bench and Deep SWE, which tests real command line and long horizon engineering work. One launch partner building apps said it now finishes with about 25% fewer steps and up to nearly half as many tool calls as the previous model. But here's the number I want you to hold on to. It hits those scores using fewer tokens. That's not a bragging point, that's a cost structure, and that's exactly where we're going next. Because my honest take on benchmarks is this. When two models are basically tied, the benchmark stops being the story. The price tag becomes the story. Okay, let's talk money. Starting with the sticker price, Anthropic's Fable 5 runs $10 per million input tokens and $50 per million output. GPT 5.6 Sol, the one that just beat it on the agent benchmark, is $5 and $30. So right off the bat, about half the price. But half price is the boring part. Here's the real mechanism. GPT 5.6 can write little programs on the fly to coordinate its tools, filter out the junk, and keep only what matters, which means it burns through way fewer tokens to finish the same job. So when OpenAI estimates the cost of actually finishing a task, not the per token rate, the whole job, Sol comes in around 1/4 of what Fable costs on that agent benchmark, while scoring higher. And the smaller models Terra and Luna, they also beat Fable on that test at roughly 1/16th the cost. 1/16th. Read that again. Same category of work, comparable or better result at a fraction of the spend. Now, let me put a real number on it. Picture a customer support agent, mid-sized software company running about 5,000 support tickets a day. For each ticket, the agent pulls in the knowledge base, the customer's history, and the thread so far. Call it 20,000 tokens of context going in, then reasons through it and drafts a reply, roughly 4,000 tokens coming out. Run every one of those on Fable, the premium model, and you're paying roughly 40 cents a ticket. That doesn't sound like much, but 5,000 tickets a day is $2,000 a day and around $60,000 a month for one agent. Now, swap in GPT 5.6 Sol for the same job. That drops to about 22 cents a ticket, roughly $33,000 a month. You just cut the cost nearly in half. And remember, on the agent benchmarks, Sol is the one that came out ahead. So you didn't trade quality for the savings. You got both. And here's the move most companies miss, the one I actually get hired to build. You don't pick one model, you route. Because let's be honest, most support tickets aren't hard. Where's my order? How do I reset my password? 70% of them, a small fast model handles perfectly. So you send that 70% to Luna, roughly about 4 cents a ticket. The trickier quarter goes to Terra, and the 5% that are genuinely gnarly, the angry escalation, the weird edge case, those get bumped up to Sol. Do the math, and the support agent that costs 60 grand a month on the premium model, now it runs on 10. 60,000 down to 10,000. Same tickets, same quality where it actually matters. Your users never feel it, but your finance team absolutely does. And it gets even better for anything long running. If you've got agents working overnight, processing documents, reconciling data, monitoring systems, the cost compounds every single hour they run. So a cheaper, more token efficient model there isn't a rounding error. It's the difference between we can afford to run this round the clock and we can only turn it on when someone's watching the budget. Whole categories of automation that didn't pencil out 6 months ago suddenly do. That's the whole game now. It stopped being which model is the smartest. It's which model for which step at what cost, and building the plumbing so the right one gets picked automatically every time. So quick recap, GPT 5.6 launched in 3 tiers. On long-running agent work, the flagship beats the best model on the market at roughly a quarter of the cost. Drop to the smaller models for the routine steps and you're at a 16th of that cost. That's the headline. Sol matching the best model within a single point at half the cost and 61% less time. But here's the bigger picture. This is the first time the price performance curve has bent far enough that long-running agents, computer use automation, and senior level knowledge work, the stuff that's been stuck in pilot budget limbo for 2 years, actually become a line item you can afford to run every single day. So you might be asking, what's the catch? Well, the models don't implement themselves. You still need the right architecture, the right routing, the right evals and guardrails so you know it's working and so it doesn't quietly run up a bill in the background. And that's exactly where most companies stall. Not on getting access to the model, that's the easy part, but on wiring it into the business. And that's exactly what I do. I help businesses audit their AI stack, route the right model to the right task, and build something their team can actually run in production. Cutting costs without touching quality, usually paying for the whole engagement several times over in the first few months. So if you're running AI agents and you honestly don't know whether you're overpaying, let's find out. Links in the description. Book a free strategy call and we'll map exactly where your money is going and where it's leaking. If you enjoyed watching this video, hit like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.